All right, welcome everybody. And this is the Power 3 podcast. And this is your boy Sean Bishop. And I'm coming to you today in regards to some of the games in which I spoke about earlier in my earlier podcast in the week right before the Labor Day, before the kickoff of the college season of the Labor Day weekend. So today I'm here coming back to you to just give you a recap of what actually happened today, or not today, this weekend on in college football. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So first, let's talk about one of the games I really don't want to talk about, but I have to talk about it because that's what this podcast is about. One of the games that I'm gonna talk about is my Oklahoma Sooners playing against number 15 Houston Cougars, and I will say that my Sooners lost the game, as you see here in 1 second. That my Sooners didn't come to play, and I blame a lot of it on Coach Stoops. They didn't come to play. They got beat, and they got beat bad. Um, 33 to 23. I just don't understand how we could lose to Houston like that. Don't get me wrong, not taking nothing from Houston, because Houston, the University of Houston, U of H is a great. They have a great team. They went what 14-1, 13-1 last season, beating Florida State in the bowl game last season. So U of H is not a bad team. I just don't feel like U of H should have beat Oklahoma. We were ranked third in the excuse me, we were ranked third in the country by the AP polls, and we go out and lose to U of H. So that right there just wasn't sitting pretty with me at all. So with that being said, I just don't understand what happened. Baker Mayfield just wasn't doing what I thought he should have done. It was just a lot of plays. The defense really need to fix some things. Coach Bob Stoops' brother is up in the skybox coaching defense from the skybox. Either you need to get Coach Stoops. Either you need to get your brother on the sideline, or you need to get rid of him. That's just my personal opinion about that. My Oklahoma Sooners fell to U of H by 10, and it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about that. I just hope that they can bounce back, and hopefully we can bounce back and still win the Big 12. Being that that was the first game of the season, there is a good chance that we could still bounce back and win win the Big 12 championship. Moving on though, let's go on to the next game. I don't even want to talk about OU no more. Let's keep it moving. Also, please feel free. I'm live, so please feel free if you have any questions or any comments. Please feel free to comment and chime in on everything in which you may feel about this past Saturday's games. But let's move on to the Ohio State Buckeye game versus Bowling Green, which the outcome of that game is pretty much what I said it was going to be. Ohio State blew out Bowling Green. It wasn't even a contest. Ohio State came in and dominated like you would expect of Ohio State, and that's exactly what they did. They came out and dominated the game. They blew out Bowling Green 77-10. It was just too much for them. Ohio State was just too much for them. They couldn't do nothing with Bartle, quarterback Jake Bartle, JT. I'm sorry, Bartle, JT Barrett. They couldn't do nothing with JT Barrett at all. JT Barrett was just having his way with Bowling Green. They put up 21 points every quarter except the second quarter. That's phenomenal. You just got to give it to Ohio State. They're a powerhouse team. They do what they do. You just got to expect it. JT Barrett was 21 for 31 for 349 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So mad shouts out to them for doing what I expected them to do. Um, as being a powerhouse, ranked number 16 in the nation. Excuse me. Moving on. Um, what do y'all feel about how y'all feel about well after this day's game, because tonight Florida State hosts Ole Miss. So tomorrow morning, all the all the people that were ranked that lost, there's going to be some switching going on coming tomorrow after tonight's game. Be sure to tune in to tonight's game as Florida State plays Ole Miss at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Moving on to the next game, we had number 7 Michigan playing versus uh well, they played Hawaii. Again, I spoke about this. It was the outcome in which I expected. Um, like I said, you got one of the best coaches that you could have coaching a college team, and that's Harbaugh. You can't take nothing from them. They're a great team. They got a great coach, so you expect great things from that team. It is what it is. So with that being said, Michigan rolls over Hawaii 63-3, and that's Hawaii's second loss already. They lost to Cal um, a week ago, and now it's even worse. So with that being said, it just they scored 3 points, and Hawaii didn't even score 3 points until the fourth quarter. So that's crazy. Spate, I think his name is the quarterback for the for Michigan, 145 yards total passing, 3 TDs, 1 interception, 10 for 13. They didn't even throw the ball a lot. That's crazy. So they looked like they was killing them mainly on the on the ground game with 112 yards rushing. Evans had 8 attempts, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, Michigan did exactly what I expected them to do. They put up 63 points. So that's what it was, 63 over 3 over Hawaii. Um, Next, let's move on to the next game, which was we're only talking about the top 25, of course. So let's move on to the next game, which was the number 14 ranked Washington Huskies against Rutgers. I know a few of y'all probably seen if you watch Sports Center and things like that, there was a moment where they showed where the Rutgers was coming out of the tunnel, and I guess one of the players tripped and fell, and like a bunch of players fell on top of him and fell over him and everything. It looks real bad for the Rutgers as a team for you to come out like that and just trip coming out the tunnel. So you can almost guess or can almost see that they weren't going to do anything in this game because they was tripping over themselves before they even started the game. So either way, Rutgers did put points on the board. Unlike they put a few points on the board, but they still got blown out by Washington by the score of 48-13. Washington did came in, played great ball. Washington quarterback Jake Browning threw for 18 for 27, 287 yards and 3 TDs, which was pretty good. You just you got to give it to Washington. They're ranked for a reason. They got a nice squad this year. They're playing well. It's just Rutgers. Just they came out like I said. They came out tripping. So being that they came out tripping, you got to expect that they just didn't do what they were supposed to do as a team. So moving on. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. If you hear that sound, that's my phone ringing right now. Please excuse that right now. But let's go on to the fifth ranked team in the AP polls, which was another upset. And I didn't see this upset coming, but I should have saw this upset coming because it was an upset that made sense. And that was number 5 LSU playing against I don't even think they was ranked. Yeah, Wisconsin. Wisconsin wasn't even ranked. And Wisconsin upsets LSU 16-14. 16-14. It is what it is. You just gotta know that LSU, they just didn't do it. Everybody thought LSU was gonna come out and do what they was gonna do with Leonard Fournette. He still rushed for 138 yards with 23 carries, but he didn't have any touchdowns. And then he got hurt toward the end of the game, which was not good at all for LSU. We haven't heard any word on what happened with how Leonard Fournette is doing right now. But as far as we know, he did get hurt in that game. But Wisconsin upsets number 5 ranked LSU 16-14. Man, that was another one of the upsets this past Labor Day weekend. So you just gotta shake your hand and be like, wow, this is what it is, huh? This is what it is. So yeah, that was another upset. And then keeping on with the upset, let's just keep it moving. We might as well go on to the next upset, which is number 16 UA playing unranked Texas A&M. And this game, I knew it was going to be a good game. I stated that it was going to be a good game. I just didn't think Texas A&M had the power to beat UCLA. But I even mentioned this during my last broadcast that Texas A&M has Trevor Knight that used to be with the University of Oklahoma. And speaking of which, I like Trevor Knight better than I like Baker Mayfield, but that's neither here nor there. But Trevor Knight is in Texas A&M, and Trevor Knight took Texas A&M and defeated UCLA with the upset of 31-24. And Trevor Knight did exactly what I expected him to do as a quarterback. He threw for 239 yards, completing 22 out of 42 attempts. Um, he had a good game. You just can't take nothing from Trevor Knight. He's a good quarterback. I really do. Like I stated before, I feel like Trevor Knight is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. Um, the reason I believe Coach Stoops went with Baker Mayfield because I think he feels he's more mobile. He's more of a mobile quarterback than Trevor Knight. But I don't totally agree with that. I think Trevor Knight is a better mobile quarterback than Baker Mayfield. But that's neither here nor there. Texas A&M goes and beats UCLA 31-24. Moving on, 17 Iowa. I don't even think I even said anything about this one. I may have, and I don't know. But Iowa, 17 Iowa took on Miami of Ohio, and they did what they were supposed to do. They came onto the field, and they romped Miami of Ohio 45-21. So that game, that was expected. Yeah, a lot of games were expected, but yeah, Ohio came in, took care of business, and got them on off the got Miami of Ohio off the board, off the field. Iowa quarterback Beathard had a 13 for 20 of completion and attempts, had 192 yards with one pass touchdown. But the rushing of Iowa, Whaley had 12 attempts for 121 yards, 2 TDs. That was amazing. And then they had Daniels Jr., who had 10 attempts, 83 yards for 2 TDs. They had a total of 5 touchdowns rushing. Iowa did on Miami of Ohio. So great job to Iowa for going in there and taking care of business against Miami of Ohio. So moving on, Oklahoma State. Those Cowboys, those Pokes. I spoke about this game. I know spoke about this. They played southeastern Louisiana, and they came in and took care of business out at Oklahoma State in Stillwater, Oklahoma. They came out and took care of business. They beat, and I believe I hit this one pretty much on the head. They beat Southern. I don't know why I can't talk today. Excuse me, Southeastern Louisiana, 61-7. So that was pretty much what I expected from them. They came in and did what they needed to do. Rudolph, quarterback for Oklahoma State, his completing attempts was 18 for 26 for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did an amazing job. They came in and did what they were supposed to do out in Stillwater. So a great game, Oklahoma State. I expected that for them. They should be moving up in the polls. So look for Oklahoma State to pop up from being ranked excuse me 21. They should be at least going up to number 15. I feel that's my take on it. The other game, let's keep moving on to the games. Number 24 Oregon Ducks played UC Davis, I'm sorry, UC Davis, the Aggies, and Oregon took care of business like they were supposed to. They beat them 53-28. I think Oregon came up a little short compared to what I said they was going to come up to. I said they was going to put up 60, and they ended up putting up 53, which is, they was only 7 points away from that. So they did pretty good. Pruitt, the quarterback for Oregon, he was 21 for 30 for passes and completions, 271 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Oregon took care of business out there, and went on to romp UC Davis, the Aggies, by the score of 53-28. And moving on, Oregon was ranked 24, so they should be moving up again this week. We spoke. I know I spoke about this game. Number 22, North Carolina, hosting number 18, Georgia. I said this was going to be a game. I said this was going to be a close game, and it's exactly what it was. And I said who was going to win the game won the game. Georgia. Georgia not trips over. Georgia um, basically just squeaks by UNC 33-24. This was a good game. This game was going back and forth for a minute. And well, actually, I take that back. Georgia was up, and then North Carolina came, as you can see, and put up 14 points in the third quarter and put them back into that game. But I mean, yeah, North Carolina put them back into that game, but then Georgia went ahead and took it on in and won the game 33-24. But you gotta look at the rushing. Chubb for Georgia, 32 attempts for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. They used him as a workhorse. Running back Nick Chubb, he was a workhorse. 32 carries, man. The quarterback Eason only threw 8 passes for 12 yards and 131 for 8 passes, 12 attempts for 131 yards. He did throw one passing touchdown though. But my God, that's crazy. Chubb's 32 carries for 22 yards. Amazing. Amazing. So that's crazy. So let's keep it moving. Like I said, Georgia squeaks by North Carolina by the score of 33-24. Moving on, number 25 to end off the top 25 teams in the AP poll. Number 25, Florida hosts UMass, which I expected. But I expected Florida to score a lot more points than they did. But they only scored 24 points, I believe it was. So 24-7. So Florida beats UMass by the score of 24-7. With the quarterback Del Rio passing 29 for 44 for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Florida wasn't squeaks past, but beats UMass by a score of 24-7. Next, we're going to move on over to the big game that everybody was watching on. I think that was Saturday night. Yeah, that was late Saturday. Well, yeah, one of the late games Saturday night. The number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide played the number 20 USC Trojans, and I must say that Nick Saban, that man is a genius. Understand this. I watched this game from the start. Well, I was going to say from the start to the end, but it got carried away toward the middle. What happened was USC scored first. I think it was a field goal. I think they only 52-6. I think it was 2 field goals actually, but they scored first. USC had a couple of chances to score. They couldn't score on Alabama's defense. They just could not score on Alabama's defense. The Alabama's defense was stopping them every time. Nick Saban does. He dissects what's going on. He figures it out, and once he figures it out, it's over. And Nick Saban figured it out. It was 17-3 at halftime. 17-3 at halftime, and then they come out and Nick Saban unleashed the reins of Alabama Crimson Tide. They just went ham. They scored 21 points in the third and 14 points in the fourth, and there was no looking back. The Crimson Tide just didn't have. USC, the Trojans just didn't have nothing for them. They just came in there and just mollywopped USC, which was expected. So, well, it wasn't expected. I take that back. It wasn't expected. It wasn't expected. I wanted USC to at least make it a game. I actually wanted USC to win because I'm tired of hearing about the Crimson Tide, Roll Tide. I'm tired of hearing about it. So I actually wanted USC to come in and win this game. But unfortunately, they didn't. They got rolled on pretty bad. Hurts threw for 118 yards, had 6 for 11 from completions and attempts. He had 2 touchdowns, but he threw 1 interception. Harris had nine. Harris had 9 rushing attempts for 138 yards, but he didn't have no touchdowns. They had Alabama had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people rushing the ball. All of them had positive yards except for the quarterback, Bateman. He has a negative of 9 yards, and Barnett. Bateman. Bateman and Barnett had a negative of 9 and 10 yards. So yeah, but so they had a lot of rushing yards. They really did. They had a great deal of rushing yards. So that was that. So you gotta give it to you at Alabama. They show why they're ranked #1 in the nation, and they show why they're national champions, and they're trying to maintain that title. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on. Oh, before I go any further, because I've already spoke about the LSU game, right? I just want to hear y'all take on that hit that offensive lineman Boteet, I think his name is Boteet, I believe his name is, on that Wisconsin Badger defender after he picked off the ball. Now, me, from my point of view, I feel like that was a very, very cheap shot. That was a shot that shouldn't be taken, that he shouldn't have took. I don't know if he was upset because they were losing or whatever, but we're talking about a 300 something pound lineman hitting maybe a 200-pound DB who was defenseless, because what happened was the quarterback threw an interception. The quarterback threw an interception. The defender that caught the interception, he caught the ball as he was like laying down on the turf. So he caught the ball and he was down, because in college football you can't fall down on your own and get back up. In college football, when your knee hits the ground, elbow or anything like that hits the turf, you're down. So a lot of people are out there saying, "Oh, he didn't know he was down." That's BS. I'm sorry. He's a college player. He knows the rules. He knew that man was down, and then he targeted his head. That was a coward move. I think that was dumb. And if I was the LSU coach, I would sit him out. He would sit out for at least 3 games for that stupidity. That was straight stupid. You don't do nothing like that. You don't play the game like that. You got kids out there looking up to you as college players who's trying to mock themselves after y'all, and this is the type of play that you show them. That was so unsportsmanlike. You have to keep your head in the game. You losing, but you don't take a cheap shot on somebody who's defenseless. Really, that man, that had me hot. That had me hot. But we're gonna keep on moving on. Let's get back into this countdown of the top 25 in the AP polls for the National Football League, NCAA Football League. I'm sorry, not the National Football League. And now let's go to number 13 ranked TCU, who hosted South Dakota State. Now, this game, I watched this game, and I watched this game to its entirety. This game here, I thought TCU was going to go in and blow them out. Now, mind you, this game, TCU won 59-41, but this game was close throughout the entire game. As a matter of fact, North Dakota State was up at one point, and TCU came back to win the game. But South Dakota State, I keep saying North Dakota State. I'm thinking about the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why I keep saying North Dakota State. But South Dakota State, I'm sorry, was really in this game. They had a real good game. They played TCU well. They really did. I just didn't. I didn't think they was gonna play TCU like that. I really didn't think they was going to play TCU like that. But for passing yards, Cahill, he had 33 completions for 49 attempts. He threw for 439 yards, but he had 2 TDs and 2 interceptions. But he threw for 439 yards. The South Dakota State quarterback Christian had 19 passing completions for 30 attempts, and he threw for 333 yards with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. So yeah, it was a great game. You got to give it to South Dakota State. They played an amazing game against TCU, and I think a lot of people. I know a lot of people were nervous about this game, because they really brought that game up and made something. I was like, wow, this was a game that I didn't expect to be close. I thought TCU. I think I said TCU was going to score like 60 points though, and they was 1 point away from scoring 60. So they did exactly as I thought, but I didn't think they was going to let South Dakota State score 41 points. It was a good game. It was a real good game. So TCU, I don't know if they're going to move up from being ranked number 13. I'm sure they have to move up because of the LSU loss and the Oklahoma loss. But being that South Dakota State gave them a game, I don't know. We'd have to see. And then to round out the top 25, number 2, Clemson went into play Auburn, the Auburn Tigers. And Auburn, what was pretty much what I expected the game was going to be like. Auburn was squeezed out Clemson 19-13. Deshaun Watson, he had a decent game. He was 19 for 34 with 248 yards. He only had 1 touchdown passing and 1 interception. But the player of the game, I guess you would say, would be Gallman, who had 30 rushing attempts for 123 yards and 1 touchdown. So Deshaun Watson, who is expected to be one of the Heisman candidates this year. He didn't have a great showing. He really didn't. He threw for 248 yards, but he just didn't seem poised like you would expect a Heisman hopeful to look. So, but they did get the win, so that's all that matters. Clemson did get the win, and that's pretty much that. That's all that matters. Like I said, they beat Auburn 19-13, and Clemson is of course ranked number 2 in the AP poll. Does that uh his Heisman status is going to go up, or I mean go down? There may be a slight chance, so it might be a possibility. Who knows? But you just got to know that they played a good game to squeak out the win over Auburn. But I don't know. We just got to see how it turns out. But yeah, for the most part, that was pretty much the. Of course, there was a lot of other games being played uh, this weekend for the Labor Day weekend. But we do know, like I stated a few minutes ago, the nightcap is gonna. The Labor Day weekend is going. Okay, something in my hair. Sorry about that. The Labor Day weekend is going to end on a good note because, like I said, tonight, number 4 Florida State hosts the number 11 Ole Miss Rebels for a game tonight on ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. So looking for that to be a good game. I'm planning on watching that game. I'm wanting to see um, the other Heisman hopeful, which is what's his name? Not Wood. What is that guy's name for Florida State? The running back for Florida State. We're looking for him to have they're looking for him to have a good game because like I said, he's a Heisman hopeful, and Jimbo Fisher is trying to get, like I was speaking before, Jimbo Fisher is trying to get Florida State put back on the map, because that Florida State, they haven't done anything in a while, so they're really trying to put them back on the map. He's trying to put them back on the map. But the Heisman hopeful I'm talking about is Dalvin Cook, who has rushed for 2,699 yards in the last 2 seasons. He's only 1,200 yards or 1,200 plus yards away from Warwick Dunn school record. Warwick Dunn was one of the running backs that I used to follow way back in the day, who used to play with Florida State. That's when I was a huge Florida State fan, when Warwick Dunn was out there, and so they're comparing Dalvin Cook to Warwick Dunn. So that's a huge comparison. So yeah, that'll be on tonight, and they'll be playing in Florida State. So after tonight, like I said, tomorrow we're gonna see the rearrangement of the top 25 AP polls, as well as the coaches poll, I'm sure too as well. But everybody pays more close attention to the AP poll. But with that being said, I thank everybody for watching. That's just the top 25. Like I said, pretty much talk about any of the other games. I just pretty much talk about the top 25. But again, thank everybody for watching. This is your boy, Sean Bishop from the Power 3 podcast. Please feel free to leave comments or questions and anything that you might want to talk about. I'll try my best to answer those throughout the week. So again, thank you. God bless you. Your boy, Sean Bishop. I'm out. Catch y'all on the next one here soon. Look out for the NFL podcast that's coming real soon. Oh, and don't forget, I also have my podcast coming as well. Y'all have a great day, a great week. God bless you. I'm out.